anything you could do, I could do better. I can do I can do anything better than you. 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 Better than you.
That's right. We are doing our first ever Versus episode here on the BiFrost Bridge podcast, and we're going big. We're going hard. We're talking Marvel versus DC in the areas of TV and movies. And we're trying to look at who's winning on TV, who's winning in the movie area, and it's not actually what you think, in my opinion. So, that's what we're talking about up next on the BiFrost Bridge podcast.
You're the coolest. No, you're the coolest. Okay, I'm the coolest. Yeah, I agree.
So we're looking at Marvel versus DC in the area of TV. Now, if you look at TV, DC is really dominating on TV. They have Arrow, they have Flash, they have Lucifer, they have the Preacher. I haven't really checked that out. I saw one episode and it's kind of weird, so I don't know. They have Supergirl, and they're going to be expanding even further. You can Google what new shows they're thinking about doing. Some might come, some might not. But if you look at Marvel on TV, all they have is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So you might want to lean towards DC is winning because they just have more shows, and we're not even going into animation because that's a whole different avenue. We need just a whole episode on that. And if you look at shows that have been canceled from DC and Marvel, overall DC, they've had Batman in the past, they had Wonder Woman in the past, they had Shazam in the past, they have had, all these shows on TV that DC has been killing it. They've got Gotham, which, you may or may not like, or may or may not want to consider, because it's not really, it's there. We'll just leave it at that. And Marvel's got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But then if you go look at what Marvel is throwing on TV, but it's not on broadcast TV, on Netflix, they have Daredevil, they have Jessica Jones, they have Luke Cage. They're coming out with Power Fist, and they're coming out with the Defenders, and they have all these other things. Now, even if you take into Legends of Tomorrow, and they've got more heroes combined, but if you look at the quality of going to Netflix was a good idea for Marvel. If you look at the quality of the shows of Daredevil, amazing. It's violent, it's graphic, but it's like reading the comics. The heroes are being the heroes. Jessica Jones, if you look at Luke Cage, which is coming out, and supposedly there's a Punisher coming out. All these things where they're going and letting the heroes be heroes on the shows. They've got a bigger budget, obviously, so they're going to town. I would lean towards, even though DC has more shows and more heroes, I would lean towards Marvel is killing it on TV if you include like the Netflix series that they're doing, because those are just way more hero-oriented, and the heroes are being themselves. Daredevil, if you look at some of the action and fight scenes alone, if you just captured those, they're like off the stinking chain. They are phenomenal. So for me, if you lean, I would lean towards Marvel is killing it. Now, if you look at the movies, obviously, you would think Marvel is killing it there too. Because DC has Man of Steel, they have Batman v Superman, they have Suicide Squad, that's about it. Whereas Marvel has, Iron Man 1, 2, 3, they have Thor Ragnarok is coming out, they have Captain America 1 and 2, and Civil War. They have just a host, they have the Avengers 1 and 2, they have Guardians of the Galaxy. But then if you stop and say, whoa, that's it, Marvel is killing it. But then you go back and look at the Batman trilogies. And if you keep going back and looking at not just Man of Steel, but all of the other Superman movies that they've tried and all the other Batman movies, they've been in it longer and their qualities of movies were pretty good. But I have to say, even though DC has been in it longer and has more movies, they've got a series of Batman movies, but then Marvel has a series of Spider-Man movies, you'd have to again say Marvel is killing it. Just with the quality. They've got the Fantastic Four movies, and I would say delete the most recent Fantastic Four movie from your memory. It should be wiped off of all the history records. But they've got the X-Men series. They've got the Spider-Man remakes over and over again. And I have to say, for me, I've got as most people do, a series of movies that are the best movies of all time. The original Avengers movie, the first one they did, kind of set the bar for me. It literally made me cry sitting in the theater. Myself and my son, we were sitting there watching it, and we had tears in our eyes as we watched certain parts of it, tears of joy, because they pull so much from the characters and just seeing all the characters come to life, and they put a lot of time into letting the characters be characters, letting them be superheroes, maximizing sequences of fights where their powers are being used and everything. And yeah, I think that set the bar for me, and past and up to now, that has been that's a 9.93 on a scale of 1 to 10 for me as movies go, and nothing has come close to it in the past or present. So that's where I stand. That Marvel is really killing it on TV overall. But if you add just broadcast TV, then obviously DC is killing it. They're throwing a lot at it. Again, we won't talk about the animated series because they both have a lot going on for that. In the movies, even though DC has a whole history of movies that they've been doing, even before the 2008, Iron Man entrance, and Marvel has had this X-Men series and the Wolverine series and the Spider-Man series and the Fantastic Four series that they've been doing over time. But wow, their Marvel is kind of really killing it in that aspect. And if you look overall, because Marvel has allowed both their TV and movie universes to intermix and coexist, it makes it a lot more interesting on their side. So even though I'm a huge DC fan, I love DC, I love Marvel too, but I'm a huge DC fan, I'd have to say in this Versus episode, that Marvel is winning hands down on TV, if you include Netflix, and in the movies. But I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? One of the things that I love about, the comic book world and the geek world and all that kind of stuff is, yes, there are fanboys, but that there's really no hate. There's really, hey, you're a fanboy, don't let that influence your decision. But this is one of the key areas where, even though we disagree, we'll all show up at the movies. We'll all show up, at the Comic Cons. We'll all show up together, and there's really not a lot of hate between individuals. So when we do a Versus episode, it's not to generate hate or people pit people against one another, but just to kind of raise the conversation. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Who's winning in the TV area? What's your favorite TV show? Who's winning in the movies area? And what's your favorite out of Marvel and DC movies of all time? Like I said, mine is Avengers. It tops any of the ones that have ever been done. And I hear some people say that the Batman, series, the last Batman series trilogy was really, great. From a movie standpoint, yes, it was great. From a comic book standpoint, hands down, Avenger tops it overall. Avengers was just phenomenal. But again, I'd love to hear from you. And when you're sharing your thoughts, even talking Versus with one another, don't hate the person, don't disrespect the person. Just share your thoughts and agree to disagree. Because we all love comics. We all love, what they're doing in TV. And well, there's some things they're doing that we don't love, but that's a topic for another podcast. But I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts. Till next time, true believer.
Okay, maybe you are the coolest. Okay.